down to grace us with prayers this morning.
Let us pray. Almighty God, from whom all wisdom and power are derived, we beseech thee so to direct and prosper the deliberations of the Legislative Assembly now assembled, that all things may be ordered upon the best and surest foundations for the glory of thy name and for the safety, honor, and welfare of the people of these islands. Bless our Sovereign Lady Queen Elizabeth II, Philip, Duke of Edinburgh, Charles, Prince of Wales, and all the royal family. Give grace to all who exercise authority in the Commonwealth, that peace and happiness, truth and justice, religion and piety may be established amongst us. Especially we pray for the Governor of our islands, the Premier, the Speaker of the Legislative Assembly, the Leader of the Opposition, Ministers of Cabinet, ex officio members, and members of the Legislative Assembly, that we may be enabled faithfully to perform the responsibilities, duties of our high office. All this we ask for thy great name's sake. Let us say the Lord's Prayer together. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us those trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. The Lord bless us and keep us. The Lord make his face shine upon us and be gracious unto us. The Lord lift up the light of his countenance upon us and give us peace now and always. Amen.
Please be seated.
Administration of oaths and affirmations.
None.
Reading by the Honourable Speaker of messages and announcements.
I receive apologies for the Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Presentation of petitions.
None.
Presentation of papers and of reports.
None.
Questions to Honourable Ministers and members of the Cabinet. The elected member for East End to ask Honourable Premier, Minister of Home Affairs, Health and Culture. Question number 45.
I recognize the Honourable Member from the District of East End.
Good morning. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, question number 45, standing and my name is asked of the Honourable Premier. And it reads, can the Honourable Minister say if the Department of Community Rehabilitation has been fully resourced to carry out the requirements of the conditional release law?
Recognize the Honourable Premier.
Madam Speaker, the answer. The Department of Community Rehabilitation has a current staff complement of 33, including a full-time probation officer in Cayman. The Director of the department advised the Minister of Home Affairs of the need for additional staffing to meet the growing demands for service, both for incarcerated offenders as well as those being supported and supervised in the community. This was highlighted by the Chief Officer at the Strategic Budget Retreat held by the Minister of Finance in October last year, where it was explained that additional staff are required in order for the DCR to effectively meet the existing needs and to enable them to respond to the increased demands for service that are anticipated following the implementation of the conditional release law and regulations. As a result, Madam Speaker, the DCR's personnel budget for the upcoming budget year has been increased by $500,000, which will enable them to increase their staff complement by 4. With additional funding, 2 Caymanian government scholarship recipients currently completing university studies in related fields will be hired as probation officer graduates. This will bring the total number of probation officer graduates to 7. In addition, the DCR will hire a deputy director and a senior probation officer through an open recruitment exercise.
If there are no supplementaries, member from East End.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I noticed that and this is just for clarity, really. I noticed that it didn't say that that would bring it up to full complement. Is this full complement or just what is they believe they can work with?
Honorable Premier.
Madam Speaker, you know that old Rolling Stone song, you can't always get what you want, but if you try sometimes, you just might find you get what you need. I think that's where we're at, because like every other, and I mean this, every other department in government, DCR are not satisfied that the numbers that they are funded to employ are adequate. But that is true whether it is the police or the prison or the fire service or HSA, it doesn't matter. So government always has to do its very best, exercise judgment, while at the same time trying to ensure that the objectives and purposes of the various departments and units are able to be achieved. And so that's where we're at. DCRR, this is not all that they would like, but they are satisfied, and as we are, that this will allow them to be able to function and to actually implement the conditional release law and regulations.
Honorable Member from Northside.
Through you, Madam Speaker, I wonder if the minister could tell us what is the estimated number of persons that are likely to be conditional release from prison that these officers will have to add to their present workload.
Honorable Premier.
Madam Speaker, if I may have a moment to consult.
Certainly. While he's consulting, may the record reflect that the honorable first elected member for West Bay and Leader of the Opposition is present. Honorable Premier.
Madam Speaker, I'm advised that it's near impossible to be able to say in the longer term, because there are different eligibility dates depending on the sentence that has been imposed on prisoners. But over the course of this fiscal year, there are 2 who will become eligible.
Member from Northside.
For you, isn't the conditional release program applicable to all prisoners, not just those who have life sentences, but isn't it so that all the prisoners, and what we have now, 240 or something like that in prison, and only 2 are going to be eligible during, or are you talking about this month, 2 months left in this financial year?
Honorable Premier.
Madam Speaker, the confusion arises because the conditional release law doesn't operate, as I understand it, doesn't operate retroactively. So it only applies to persons who were sentenced since the law actually came into effect. Except for lifers, it applies retrospectively for lifers. That's why the projected numbers are as small as they are.
Honorable Member from the District of Northside.
Through you, Madam Speaker, that was not the impression I got when the law was being presented here, but through you, Madam Speaker, the minister says that in addition, the DCR will hire a deputy director and senior probation officer through an open recruitment exercise. When you say recruitment exercise, do you mean worldwide, or is there no succession planning there that these two people are being groomed for these positions from existing staff?
Honorable Premier.
Madam Speaker, I'm advised that it is expected that they should be able to fill the deputy director post from the existing staff complement. But the rules with respect to recruitment of the public service require that these positions have to be advertised, although only locally.
Member from Northside.
Through you, Madam Speaker, this is not really a question, but this is a problem I have with the civil service promoting succession planning and insisting, because I can't find this clause in the public service management law that requires open recruitment beyond succession planning, because it's oxymoronic if you have succession planning in an organization, grooming individuals for higher positions and they meet the competencies, but they have to compete with people from Timbuktu.
Member from Northside, can you please turn it into a question?
Yes, Madam Speaker. The question is, why has the department not developed a succession plan that would allow these probation officers to have been given the opportunity to acquire the competencies for senior director and senior promotion officer from existing staff, many of whom are academically qualified and have multiple years of experience in the department already?
Honorable Premier, I'm sure you're cognizant that that's a Section 55 of the Constitution question. You may so answer it if you wish through consultation or redirection or not at all.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I am advised that they have had this experience and training. It is simply that the rules for recruitment of the public service require an open recruitment process, a competitive process. Whether I agree with that or not, it's not a rule I made.
Member from Easton.
Madam Speaker, I'm trying to clarify something with regards to whether or not the law applies retroactively. I'm wondering if the minister is telling us that prisoners who were sentenced prior to the enactment of the law will not be upon release will not be monitored by this law.
Honorable Premier. Members, I think that we can expedite the process. I've requested the conditional release law so that the side can get a copy of the chair and this side as well. So I beg your indulgence. Unless, of course, if there were other supplementaries not dealing with that. Member from North Side.
This is completely out of left field, and then you might rule by the order. But I wonder,
Just keep it in the field.
Madam Speaker, I know I can do a lot of things, but I'm trying to obtain the answer for the last question. I can't entertain another question while I'm doing that.
I think in fairness, we ought to acquiesce to the request of the Premier so that he can give his full attention to the question on the floor. Honorable Deputy Governor, would you be so kind as to direct to the chair to the provision dealing with non-retroactive? Thank you. Honorable Premier.
Madam Speaker, I would like, this is somewhat unconventional, but I would like to ask you, ma'am, and the member asking the question, if we could defer this question until Monday, because there is something plainly wrong with the information I've been given.
By virtue of Standing Order 23.5, you may so defer.
I'm sorry, Madam Speaker. It's a supplementary, so maybe if he provides the information in writing, that would be the only requirement of the minister. Unless he wants to correct what he says.
Remember that is also a course that you could take, but I was minded to follow the course that the Premier was going, mainly because it was of substance and importance, and there was information on the floor that needed to be corrected. And rather than put the Premier or his technocrats in that position at this time, I will follow this course. I put the question that the supplementary, which was asked to the Honorable Premier in respect to question 45, I believe, 45, be deferred until another date. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, no. The ayes have it. Supplementaries that were emanated under question 45 is now deferred. Madam Clerk. Madam Clerk, sorry, the member from Northside, did you have a follow-up that was not relating to the issue at hand? I think you did just before we sent for the legislation.
It could probably be called a 31st cousin. What I wanted to ask the Deputy Governor if he would be willing to supply us with a copy of the policy that requires open recruitment in spite of succession planning.
Member from Northside, seeing that it's the Honorable Premier that the question is directed to, is obviously completely discretionary. Otherwise, you have the alternative of submitting a substantive question. Okay. Madam Clerk, next question.
The elected member for East End to ask the Honorable Deputy Governor, ex officio member responsible for the civil service, question number 46.
I recognize the Honorable Member from the District of East End.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, question number 46, standing in my name, is asked of the Deputy Governor, and it reads, can Honorable ex officio member say what was the outcome of the recent investigation in the prison services surrounding the camera recording?
Recognize the Honorable Deputy Governor.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The answer. On the 14th of April 2015, a supervisor and a junior officer of HMCIPS were placed on required leave and suspension, respectively. Following a thorough investigation into the matter, the supervisor was dismissed for gross misconduct by the Chief Officer of the Ministry of Home Affairs. It is expected that the disciplinary proceedings relating to the conduct of the junior officer involved in this matter will be concluded by the end of May 2016. Disciplinary proceedings were also instituted against a senior officer, which resulted in her dismissal. The decisions to dismiss have both been challenged, and one is under judicial review, and an appeal is pending for the other. I am therefore unable to comment further on these matters. Thank you.
There are no supplement. Member from East End.
Madam Speaker, with all due respect to sub judice, I wonder if the Deputy Governor can tell us if there's any reconsideration of them sub judice, the reviews, if there has been any consideration of whether or not we challenge the review or not. We defend our position in the review.
Honorable Deputy Governor.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, both matters are proceeding, and the civil service is defending its decisions. One in the court and one through the appeals system.
If there are no more supplementaries, we'll go to the next question.
The elected member for East End to ask Honorable Deputy Governor, ex officio member responsible for the civil service, question number 47.
Recognize the Honorable Member from the District of East End.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, question number 47, standing in my name, is asked of the Deputy Governor. Can the Honorable ex officio member say how many Caymanians applied during the last recruitment drive for prison officers and how many were hired?
Honorable Deputy Governor.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, the answer. As it pertains to the recruitment process to fill the 7 vacancies for prison officers at HMCIPS, Her Majesty's Cayman Prison Service, a total of 457 applications were received, of which 64 were from Caymanians and 59 were from permanent residents. Following a vigorous recruitment process, 7 applicants were selected to commence training from the 21st of October 2015 until the January 20th, 2016. The group was comprised of 5 Caymanians and 2 permanent residents. 6 of the 7 recruits successfully completed the 6-month training program. 1 Caymanian male was unsuccessful. In summary, of the 457 applicants, 64 were Caymanian, and in the end, of the 6 persons hired, 4 were Caymanians and 2 were permanent residents. Thank you.
Recognize the member from East End.
Madam Speaker, may I ask if we are currently going through the recruitment process again?
Honorable Deputy Governor.
Just 1 minute, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Deputy Governor.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we are not aware of any active recruitment going on at the moment.
Honorable member from East End.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, can the Deputy Governor commit to this House to inquire into whether or not those who were shortlisted before are currently being interviewed over the phone from overseas?
Honorable Deputy Governor.
Madam Speaker, could I ask the member to please repeat? I don't understand what he's asking.
Madam
Member
Speaker,
from East End.
thank you. Madam Speaker, what I'm asking the Deputy Governor to do, ask him if he would commit to this Honorable House to inquire into whether or not on the previous recruitment drive that some of those people are now being interviewed by telephone for further placement at Northwood Prison.
Honorable Deputy Governor.
Madam Speaker, I'm happy to inquire to what the member said and to respond accordingly. I have no knowledge of that, but I'm certain we can find out.
You're being quite generous because he asked you to inquire.
Yeah. We have nothing to hide, ma'am, so I'm happy to provide whatever information the member's asking for.
Thank you. Member from East End.
Madam Speaker, I'm glad to hear the Deputy Governor say he has nothing to hide, because the next question is going to be very probing.
Please proceed.
Madam Speaker, first question. I wonder if the Deputy Governor can say to us what is the pass mark to be achieved by recruits at the prison service?
Honorable Deputy Governor.
I'll just crave your indulgence for a few minutes, ma'am.
Certainly. Like to recognize the Honorable Premier for the suspension of Standing Order 23, 7, and 8.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I beg to move the suspension of Standing Order 23, 7, and 8 in order that question time may continue beyond the hour of 11 o'clock.
The question is that Standing Order 23, 7, and 8 be hereby suspended to allow the extension of question time beyond the hour of 11 a.m. All those in favor, please say aye. Those against, no. The ayes have it. Accordingly, Standing Order 23, 7, and 8 is hereby suspended. Recognize the Honorable Deputy Governor.
Madam Speaker, I don't have the pass mark here with me, but I can certainly get it for the member.
Do you have a follow-up? Member from Easton. Recognize the Honorable Member from Easton.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I would ask the Deputy Governor then that would it be fair to say that over 60 would be a reasonable pass mark and showing some competences?
Honorable Deputy Governor.
Madam Speaker, I don't have the facts, so I don't want to start speculating, ma'am. I would really like to get the facts before I respond.
Member from Easton.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, let me, since there's nothing to hide, but there seems to be withholding, I might as well lay my nothing to hide on the table. I wanted the answers from you. So, Madam Speaker, of the one Caymanian in that substantive answer that was given that failed to be successful to join there, I put it to the Deputy Governor that is passed, he was at 62%. Why wasn't this young man hired?
Member from Easton, would you be so kind as to repeat your question?
Madam Speaker, I'm specific now to the one Caymanian that was not successful. Why wasn't he engaged at the prison after going through the training period? And he got 62% overall average. So it got to be higher than that, you know what I mean? Some of them.
Honorable Deputy Governor.
Madam Speaker, thank you. As I said in my substantive answer, we were able to, there were 7 posts. We put 4 Caymanians in those posts. Two persons were permanent residents. We ran the training program, and in the end, unfortunately, one Caymanian did not meet the pass mark that was set. I do not know what the pass mark was, and I'd be happy to get it. Madam Speaker, I just want to be very clear. As head of the civil service, I have challenged all of our head of departments to employ as many Caymanians as possible. We are over 74% in the civil service of Caymanian, and that is something that we should be proud about, but we must not stop there. But I've also challenged heads of department to recruit superstar employees so that they are able to perform their duties at the highest standards. The civil service has been criticized for not doing its job to a high standard, and the only way for us to change that, to get better, is 2 things. We train up the people that we have there now, or we bring in highly skilled individuals. And that is exactly what we're doing. I want to make it clear, Madam Speaker, this recruitment exercise, from all the information that I have, was done properly in accordance with the rules. We were able to employ 4 Caymanians. Would we have liked to have employed all 7? Absolutely. But we have standards and we have to meet those standards. We're not going to compromise those standards, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
Honorable member from the District of East End.
Madam Speaker, you see what disrupts our country and them same little young children, young people we see there, is that not every one of them are Einsteins. But given the opportunity, then they can become productive citizens. Now listen to this one. Week 1, 22.5 out of 30.
Are you referring verbatim to document, member?
Yeah, just looking at it, you need it, huh? If you need it, I can get it copied.
Member,
yeah, sure.
you are a stickler for rules and you probably have more comprehension of them than most people. So please make sure that when you respond, that you do so within the context of your usual manners.
Speaker, if I was only referring to document, but what I'm saying is, if it is a requirement of you to have a copy of the entire document,
If you're reading the document verbatim, then it's the convention that the chair would request it. If you were just refreshing your member, then proceed. Thank you, member. Member from Eastern, would you give way to the member, third elected member from West Bay who has an unrelated question? I recognize the third elected member from West Bay.
To the Deputy Governor, Madam Speaker, can you also inquire whether there's a policy that when the prison is recruiting, that HR people fly off to other countries and get list names and so forth? Could you inquire into that for us as well, please?
Honorable Deputy Governor.
Yes, ma'am.
I recognize the member from Northside.
Through you, Madam Speaker, to the Deputy Governor, does the open recruitment policy apply to every prison officer whose existing contract comes to an end? Or are they allowed to re-engage them on another contract without open recruitment?
Recognize the Honorable Deputy Governor.
Yes, ma'am. Madam Speaker, we have to ensure that there is continuity, that there is stability in these organizations. So, to that, the short answer to the member's question is no, but let me explain. So we have a system in place where we require departments that have high numbers of foreign nationals that 2 or 3 times a year they run recruitment exercises to determine whether there are Caymanians available. But we do not require every single contract renewal for a non-Caymanian to get advertised every single time it comes up for renewal. But we do make sure, and we go to careful pains to make sure that we are aware whether Caymanians are available to take up those jobs when those contract renewals does come up.
Recognize the member from Northside.
Through you, Madam Speaker, to the Deputy Governor, how then is a Caymanian who's aspiring for promotion made aware of contracts about their position expiring, and why are they not given an opportunity to apply?
Honorable Deputy Governor.
Madam Speaker, I mean, we have to be clear. I'm not aware of us, first of all, promoting high numbers of non-Caymanians in the civil service. It rarely ever happens. What we want, what I think you're asking about is contracts coming up and whether Caymanians know about those contracts. And like I said, we advertise those contracts in the civil service, outside of the civil service. I take the members' point from last finance committee that we should make every effort to advertise internally first to see whether there are Caymanians in the civil service, and we are doing that. A lot of the adverts that come out right now are internal applicants only. So I believe, Madam Speaker, that we are doing our utmost best to ensure the upward mobility of all Caymanians in the civil service. We're doing secondments, we're giving people opportunities to go and work in other ministries, other departments. It is actually paying huge dividends for us, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
If there are no further supplementaries, member from Eastern.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, what I was trying to point out is that we cannot expect our kids to compete with people who are 10, 15 years experience in the related field. You know, the most successful police officers we have ever had started at 16. Scotland, Walton, Clifford, Dixon, 3 of them from Cayman, 16 years of age. Then Einstein, we need to develop them. But I want to know why this young man wasn't hired with scores as follows. Week 1, 22.5 out of 30. That equates to 73%. Week 2, 15 out of 30, 50%. Week 3, 21 out of 30, 70%. Week 4, 18.5 out of 30, 62%. Week 5, 21.5 out of 40, 54%. Week 6, 30 out of 50, 60%. Extra tests, 13 out of 21, 62%. Extra tests, 10 out of 20, 50%. An average of 62% in 6 weeks of training without experience. And we can't hire them? Why wasn't this young man hired? Opportunity, opportunity, opportunity in the land of the Cayman Islands, the Cayman Islands, the Cayman Islands, and the Caymanian, Caymanian, Caymanian.
Honourable Deputy Governor, I was waiting for the question mark after that, but. Okay. Honourable Deputy Governor.
Madam Speaker, I'm a Caymanian too, and I started in the civil service when I was 16 too. So, absolutely. And that's exactly what I'm doing, Madam Speaker. We are giving hundreds and hundreds of Caymanians opportunities. We had 145 Caymanians working in the civil service last summer. We are doing it, Madam Speaker. I have committed, I started in the civil service as an intern over the Immigration Department, Madam Speaker. And I've told everyone, it is my desire that when I leave the civil service, we are well above 74%. Madam Speaker, that is something for us to be proud about. How many companies right now can say that they have over 74% of their employees are us? So we must be proud of that. Does the prison service need to get better? Absolutely. And it will get better. And we just employed Caymanians. In the last 2 recruitment exercises, the prison director has been told we need to increase the number of Caymanians in the prison service. And Madam Speaker, he is doing just that. To answer the question, I do not know what the pass mark was. So I cannot say specifically why this person was not hired. If the pass mark was 75 and he got 62, then that's the end of the story right there.
Member from Eastern, and then the Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Madam Speaker, should have taken my medication this morning.
Take a deep breath.
Madam Speaker, I am embarrassed. Based on what he just said, the Deputy Governor. Proud you make an excuse that we 74%. And no, of which country, or which company? This country is ours and we should be 100%. Help you? It's your job, do it. Don't ask me help you.
Members, just
Madam,
keep the comments through the chair.
Speaker, make me stop because I didn't take medication. Yeah?
I recognize the Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
I recognize the Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I thought the member from Eastern was on a good subject, so I was giving way. Madam Speaker, what can the Deputy Governor say? What is the top salary for a prison officer?
Honorable Deputy Governor.
Madam Speaker, I don't have it off the top of my head, but I can certainly get it in an hour or so. There's the salary. I don't have it off the top of my head, sorry.
Honorable Leader of the Opposition, is that satisfactory with you? Okay. I recognize a member from Northside.
Madam Speaker, let me congratulate the Deputy Governor with his success. But Madam Speaker, the problem is, can the Deputy Governor justify in this one instance why the Caymanian was not given a job? Because, Madam Speaker, don't care how many we have, when we turn down one of our own for reasons that are not readily available, it reflects badly on all of us. And I would invite the Deputy Governor to commit to provide to us in writing why this one Caymanian was not hired.
Honorable Deputy Governor.
Madam Speaker, it's my understanding that the member from East End has that information. He has the letter that the person was given. So let us all see it. I don't think we should
Sarge, could
get into specifics about this young man in a public forum, but the letter that the member from East End has the reasons why this gentleman was not hired. But we want him to do well in his next endeavor, so I think we just not do this publicly.
recognize the fourth elected member from the District of Bordentown.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Through you, could the Honorable Deputy Governor state what the time period was for this most recent recruitment drive?
Honorable Deputy Governor.
Madam Speaker, in my answer, I did say that the recruitment started in October and ended in January. If the member is asking for when we started to advertise, I don't have that, ma'am.
Member from Bordentown, you have a follow-up? Fourth elected member from Bordentown.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. No, I think that answer will suffice, but I really am curious to know what the pass mark is, because I'm aware of another individual who got 91% and wasn't hired, but not in this most recent drive, in a previous one.
Member, could you repeat that? The Deputy Governor was consulting on this side. I don't think he fully heard it.
Just to reiterate that, I would like to also know what the pass mark is for the training and testing, because there's an individual I'm aware of that got 91% and wasn't hired, not in this most recent drive, but the previous one.
I recognize Honorable Deputy Governor.
Yes, Madam Speaker. I'm happy to get that information. And Madam Speaker, I don't want anyone, the public, or anybody in this House, believe that there was some ulterior motive in why this Caymanian was not given the job. The member from East End has a letter that says exactly why the person wasn't given a job, and I think we should be full and open, and let's hear exactly what the letter said as to why this person didn't get the job, so that there's no stones left unturned. We should just leave the gentleman's name out of it, but I wouldn't want it to be said that there's some ulterior motives why the person didn't get the
Honorable
job. The
Deputy
person was
Governor,
told.
I've asked the sergeant to make copies, and that's what he's doing now.
Thank you.
Honor- Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, can the Deputy Governor say whether he's finding a move of Caymanians to want to be in the service?
Honorable Deputy Governor.
Madam Speaker, we have had some tremendous successes recently. I was ecstatic to find that in the Ministry of Tourism, we have just employed a bright young Caymanian to be our Deputy Chief Financial Officer. He was a former Proud of Them recipient. He comes from the private sector, and and he is just one of many Caymanians that we see are now applying to come into the civil service. Despite the beating that we take down here sometime, Madam Speaker, which is not helping me recruit Caymanians into the civil service. I want everybody to understand that. Because people are saying to me, well, Mr. Anderson, if I got to come down here and take a beating for doing your job, well, maybe I don't want to join the civil service. So I want people to understand that. But we are committed, Madam Speaker, in the civil service. Me, as a Caymanian, is committed to ensuring that every single Caymanian that applies for a job in the civil service gets it.
Madam,
I recognize the Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
Madam Speaker, can the Deputy Governor, because I'm asking this particular question because of what he just said, and I think it casts some aspersions on members here. What is the Deputy Governor meaning when he say that civil servants take a beating when they come down here?
Honorable Deputy Governor.
Madam Speaker, I'm repeating what was said to me. I think everybody knows what I'm talking about.
Well, Madam Speaker,
One minute, Honorable Leader of the Opposition. I almost made an interjection when I heard you said it, and I would hope that the House didn't have to go there, but we were already there. So, Honorable Leader of the Opposition, and that's just based on the standing orders. Honorable Leader of the Opposition, please proceed.
Madam Speaker, it's not something to drag out, but certainly we don't want to leave it in the public domain that if we need to call a civil servant, that anyone need to be afraid to answer questions. I've been here 30-odd years, and I've had civil servants many times in Finance Committee. The only one that seemed to refuse was the Commissioner of Police, whom you all protect quite well. And civil servants never refuse to come to answer for the subjects they are responsible for. And there have been, and I think I need to explain it, Madam Speaker, because certainly I'm one that not going to take that route to bamboozle any civil servant down here because they are answering questions. And I'll make that absolutely clear. 30-odd years and I haven't done it.
Honorable Deputy Governor, I think I better do this at the station, and I'll call on you so I can refresh all and sundry members. Standing Order 23, and I beg the House indulgence to so read. At question time, the presiding officer shall, and I want members to pay particular attention to the mandatory aspect of the provision, call in turn upon each member in whose name a question stands upon the order paper and the order in which the questions are printed. Each member so called shall rise in his place and ask a question on the order paper, and the member of the government questioned shall reply. 23.2. After the answer to the question has been given, supplementary questions may, at the discretion of the presiding officer, be put for the purpose of elucidating the answer given orally. But the presiding officer may refuse questions which, in his opinion, introduces matters not relevant to the original question or which infringes Standing Order 22, and members can look at 22 at their own discretion. 3, subset 3, when all the questions for which an oral answer is required to have been called, the presiding officer, if time permits, shall call again any questions which has been not asked by reason of the absence of the member in whose name it stands, in which case another member may, if disputed by the absent member in his behalf, either ask a question or request its postponement. The presiding officer shall also call again any questions which have not been answered by reason of the absence of the members to which it's addressed. And I've taken time to read this section to show the importance that's given to the asking and answering of questions. 4, member of the government may decline to answer a question if in an answer it would, in the opinion of the government, be contrary to public interest. Subset 5, a member of the government may, with the leave of the House, defer answering a question. 6, not more than 3 questions requiring an oral answer shall appear in an order paper in the name of the same member for the same day, and any question in excess of this number shall not be called by the presiding officer, but shall be answered as provided in paragraph 8. 7, no question shall be asked after 11 a.m., and that's the procedure we went through earlier. 8, any question which has not received an oral answer by 11 a.m. shall be postponed and placed on an order paper for reply at some later sitting within the same meeting, provided that if all other business for the meeting has been disposed of, such postponed questions and all other questions listed in the business paper but not placed on the order paper shall be answered in writing by the member of the government to whom the question was addressed, and copies of the answers shall be sent immediately thereafter to the clerk, who shall send a copy to the member in whose name the question stood and to all other members. And I'd ask members to please once again refresh the members of Standing Order 23. I recognize Honorable Deputy Governor.
Yes, ma'am, and I take the point. Madam Speaker, I just want to be clear, and I thank the Leader of the Opposition for the question. We understand very clearly, Madam Speaker, that civil servants answer to our political leaders, and this House is where we come to answer their questions and to address any concerns they have. So I am not on any stretch of the imagination saying that shouldn't happen. I welcome it. And I don't want to give the impression that civil servants are afraid to come down here. What I was told is that when people listen to what happened down here sometimes, it doesn't excite them about wanting to join the civil service. That was it. I don't want to impugn any improper motives on anyone here. I think we all get along very well, and I want that to continue, Madam Speaker, because we in the civil service understand very clearly to everyone here that we answer to this House. Thank you.
Thank you. Recognize the member from Easton.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Glad for the little intimation there, and I do apologize if I offended the chair. Notice I said the chair. Madam Speaker, with your indulgence, with the sergeant, that letter that for the purposes of completeness, I think I should read the response this 19, 20-year-old wrote to the director of prison. I think that's fair. How you like saying it, lawyers.
Please proceed, and then, as
Thank
usual,
you, Madam.
provide a copy. Thanks.
Dear Mr. Lavis, this letter serves as an appeal to seek your immediate intervention into the matter of what I believe is an unfair dismissal. I hereby state that I have successfully completed the required test set by the recruitment department of our Majesty's prison and was employed and given my kit, including key to the institution, on Monday, December the 4th, 2015. That's the date of the letter that I just laid. On the same day, at the final of the training, I was applauded for my excellent performance and set to work. However, whilst at work on that same day, I was called by the human resource personnel and given a letter stating my employment has been terminated upon the grounds stated in the termination letter attached. At no time was I confronted on the grounds mentioned. I was not issued, nor did I sign a warning letter. Sir, this is the part that really touches me. Sir, I'm a young Caymanian, and I acknowledge that I was naive in this environment, but I'm willing to learn and excel. I really love and always hope to have myself engaged in this career. So in future, I could be an asset to this institution and my country. Now, I feel so rejected as I resigned the job I was in to seek employment here, which leaves me very disappointed. I was so excited when I was shortlisted to be engaged in an institution where I can be an asset to my country. Sir, I do not intend to be an outcast in society or a reject in the country I was born due to not being given a chance. I believe this is one reason why so many young men are behind bars globally nowadays, and I do not intend to join that group. If I have offended anyone whilst in this institution, I am willing to apologize and mend the broken pieces in an effort to enhance a peaceful and unified working environment. Please, I'm using this medium, sir, to solicit your favor of intervening in this matter and give me another chance to prove myself worthwhile. I really need a chance. In all the grounds she mentioned, that is in the letter, even if it were so, why give me a job and a key for a high-risk institution if it wasn't proven efficient, if I wasn't proven efficient for the job? I diligently seek your advice and intervention into this matter. Be that.
If the honorable leader, sorry. Sarge, other members are asking for copies of the last letter, so when you get a chance, please distribute that as well. I recognize the third member from West Bay.
Through you, Madam Speaker, to Deputy Governor, I'm sure you've heard of the many HR fiascos that have gone on at the Magistrates Prison. When there was a lady who I stood on this floor of the House and supported, who was about 1 week from getting her status and was released because she was not a Caymanian, even though the HR department had been told that the status sitting was 1 week away. So this is just another chapter. Could you do the undertaking, sir, to see in that 7th post, because like you said, 4 Caymanians, 2 PR, that one other Caymanian, that this young man that seems very intelligent, seems, and like he said, through you, Madam Speaker, that after being handed the keys for the HR to do this, something is amiss. Please look carefully, Mr. Deputy Governor, at who, Mr. Member from East End, Honorable Member from East End, please listen carefully. Who was given that 7th position? Please look into that, sir, and let us know, Mr. Deputy Governor.
Honorable Deputy Governor.
Madam Speaker, I'm happy to give that undertaking, and I know the member from East End had asked why this gentleman was not employed, and I now have that information here that I can read out. It says, I regret to inform you that a decision has been taken not to offer you continued employment. This is a letter from the director to the young man. I think we need to do a further redaction on that, yes. I regret to inform you that decision.
Honorable Deputy Governor, I think we ought to circulate it within this House as opposed to reading it for the general public, because even though I've requested and I saw you redact the name of the person, it's a very small community and it's now going to be beyond the borders of the prison, and we don't want him to fall through the cracks. So let's just take a 5 minutes break, and can I have members meet in the committee room?
Exactly.